is going on, YouTube? Pass the Prop back here again. It is our NFL Week 7 recap. Plus, we got a doubleheader tonight for Monday Night Football. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. How you doing, man?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Obviously, always excited to be here, especially coming off a winning week. But it does get a little bit better when we have a doubleheader, right? I mean, some of these games we're a little bit anxious talking about. You get a Broncos in prime time, something like that. But today, we got two games that I think could potentially be very good. We got plenty of teams that we're going to be seeing in the postseason today, and a very intriguing Ravens matchup, obviously, both stylistically and just with a ton of teams that are performing a little bit better than we expected. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. We got a great slate today. Had a great week of player prop betting. Hopefully we continue that one today.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is probably what we're probably 2 or 3 plays away from having another slate breaking day. With, you know, we'll just talk about it right now. We got 20 of you guys in here. Let's talk this recap so we can kind of talk about how damn close we were to just hitting some bangers here. So I'll kick it over to you to start off with Addison here.
Yeah, a little bit sweaty, but I mean, got the job done in the second half right here. I was kind of hoping it'd be like a first drive touchdown. I added a little first TD, kind of a little bit crazy there, but no, this one worked out well. I mean, this has got to be the move going forward with Addison as well. If they keep posting the line here, the guy's got a 17 ADOT on the season. Like, the fact that his line's only at 21 when he's the clear wide receiver too is kind of crazy to me. I would have had it significantly higher because even if Addison's not that involved, right? Even if he only gets 1-2 catches, the likelihood of those catches going far is going to be very high when your ADOT's that high. So I don't know. We'll keep going back to this. Shout out Addison, got the job done for us.
Yeah, only thing I can say is I think Hockenson will be in next week. I know it probably doesn't mean a ton, but a lot of that's still probably 7-8 targets a game going there because the dude is.
I don't think that's what he's been. That was without Justin Jefferson, though. A lot of that. I think Hockenson, because one, I think we got to go 2 or 3 weeks of Hockenson kind of easing back into it, not full strength. But I think full strength Hockenson in this offense is probably like a 5 to 6 target per game kind of guy. I don't know if there's enough room in the offense because this is a more efficient offense. Last year was more of a volume offense. This year, I think we're a little bit more efficient, a little bit more Aaron Jones in there. But that's just my opinion. But that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because Hockenson obviously does adjust it. But Hockenson is fine for short yardage targets, more safety attention, more help from the defenders. That's going to mean even more deep ball opportunities. So once again, that's why you go efficiency over volume. I'm never taking fucking receptions with Jordan Addison. I'll tell you that. Not with the 17 ADOT.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just throwing that out there because I mean, you've seen a lot of Munt had like 50 yards in that game.
Yeah.
Naylor was getting targeted. That's what I mean. Like all those targets are Hockenson. Like Munt is going to literally be a blocker here next week. So it's yeah. I have a lot of Hockenson exposure in fantasy as well. I'm kind of pissed about this one still because that game was so shitty. Like. We had Amon-Ra. I had a lot of Amon-Ra exposure. Let me get this out of the way because I know you had a bad beat on yours, on your long shot. I had a bad beat on one of them, but my biggest beef this week was I had I think it was 1 p.m. game receiving leader, and I had Jefferson, Amon-Ra, and I think it was Drake London. And Keon Coleman catches 2 garbage-ass fucking 50-yarders. Like, why? You guys were up like 15. Why are we throwing 50-yard tanks? I mean, I cut his ass because I didn't think he'd be getting the ball. But, man, dude, I was so frustrated because Amon-Ra had that shit in the bag. He talked about it on pretty much everywhere we were talking this week. So just want to get as much action I could on Amon-Ra. Thank God for that because – I mean, he didn't beat Jaden Reed against the Vikings, but he was up there. He was cooking on those, and the Chiefs really didn't have to do anything in that game. Brock Purdy looked like ass. I know you don't have Debo, and now Ayuk's probably done for the year. Brock Purdy's probably what? Bottom? I don't even know what I'd rank him in quarterback ranking. Bottom 5? He's probably pushing bottom 5 now, bro.
No. Brock Purdy's fine. Bad game. Chiefs defense, once again, way better than people think it is. Just like last year. They're the Chiefs, so we just think offense. They've done nothing but, like, whoop good teams all year. Like, Derrick Henry started the year with 40 yards, and has had, like, 100 every week since. after the Chiefs. Like, it's one of those. The defense is kind of the common denominator. Like, Purdy's not great. He's like a game manager. He's middle of the road. But honestly, his ADOT going up to like 9 this year, and going from the guy with the least, or going from the guy with the most yak yards in the league to the least, is kind of impressive. Like, he's kind of slinging it this year a little bit more. Obviously, this was a down game. Weapons have been banged up all year long. Debo, Jennings, Ayuk. It seems like these guys could never stay safe. So I've barely bet on the 49ers at all. So I've really I was not going to bet on them this week. I don't know if you saw the whole like GRP. All the dumbest people in the world were on the 49ers. Not saying everyone that was dumb, was betting the 49ers. But I was like, there's no way I can take this bet. Like Mahomes as a dog, really? Absolutely.
Against anybody, bro. Honestly, really against anybody. And he whooped Shanahan, bro. Like, I think he's like, what is he, 4-1? I don't even know if maybe he didn't even lose yet. But my one thing on this, obviously we took the L on this one, but you're the NFL multi-billion-dollar fucking industry. And Debo's got a fucking cough and we can't have him play. You got some IVs in the fucking back or something? Give this guy some freaking cough medicine or something, bro. How is this man not playing? That's literally what he sat for. And then you watch Ayuk just get killed, which usually that'd be Debo, and he'd probably have taken that to the house because he's so much faster. But that's all I'm saying. Like, I said that, I'm like, dude, how is this happening? Like, you have all this money, best traders in the world, everything. How are we sitting because you're coughing, bro? 3 plays, just enough so he can take the money from people? I saw a lot of people betting Debo this week, and I'm like, damn, bro, that sucks. I didn't bet Debo. I'd never bet Debo, like, ever. So I didn't really care, but I'm just sitting there, and I'm literally watching him go to the locker room coughing. I'm like, go back there. You're telling me I know that they got some stuff back there that'll make him feel pretty good for at least 2 hours. And you lose a game to the Chiefs in a big rematch here. Come on, bro. Like, really? Multi-billion dollars, dude. Billion. And we can't do it? Come on, bro.
Oh, just ask Perk Rogers. They got something back there for him. No, they got a CVS pharmacy back there waiting for him. Just all you got to do is ask in the NFL at this point. But hey, I had an even worse one in that game where I was like 2 minutes late to the game starting. I turned it on. I flipped the channel over, and the first thing I hear is, yeah, it looks like Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be out for the remainder. I was like, what the fuck? I turned it on 1 second ago. The guy plays one snap immediately goes,
and he fell over, bro. He literally ran down the field and fell. And I'm like, you didn't even get targeted, bro.
That was my only loss of the week. That was my only in 9 bets. That was my only loss this week. Fucking Juju falling down on the first play of the game. Come on.
I was dying, bro. Honestly, like I didn't know you had a full bet on him, but I saw people in our group chat sending stuff. Oh my god, Juju. I'm like, I hope you guys were not watching that game for the sheer fact that he ran like 4 steps and just tumbled to the ground. Like, oh my god. I'm like, how do you not? Didn't you just have a pregame? Like, didn't you just run through all this stuff at pregame and then you get to the field for 1 play and fall? It was
yeah.
I know I saw a lot of people on Demario Douglas as well. I saw a lot of people betting on him. I had him in fantasy this week because I had CeeDee Lamb and he had to take a spot with a nice old 2 catches on 3 plays and it sits. So it was a really weird week. Like I don't remember who it was. It might have been Larky, maybe, who tweeted out what like all the big time guys and how bad everybody was doing this.
Oh,
week.
Really?
Yeah. And this one was bad because I'm a Packers fan and I was trying to like jinx myself into throwing this. Like, how are you not catching a pass? Like, nobody did anything in the passing game. I'm like, CJ, how are you this dumb, bro? They're doing the same shit. They did the same thing. And you're just like, all right, we're just going to run it until somebody dies, I guess. And I'm like, dude, maybe take a shot. Maybe like roll out. Maybe don't just take 5-step dropbacks and get killed. Like it was like a 5-year-old playing Madden as an offensive coordinator is what that was. Because that was awful. Bro, I'm going to be fading these boys against any team that's any good. Like that was one of the worst attempts at football I've ever watched from the Texans. And they still couldn't cover.
It's interesting because I'm a big Stroud fan, but like the more you look, the more there are definitely holes in the game for sure. And he's a young guy, obviously, plenty of time overcome that. But I it's why I was concerned. But once again, I saw the data with him outside versus inside. Once again, only a small sample size, but that is telling to me. And then you go to a place like Lambeau, like the vibes around it were just pretty bad. Obviously, I believe Tunsil missed that game. And then you're down as well. Your number one
I
wide
don't
receiver.
think
Was Tunsil
so.
in?
I saw him in the.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
False start legend was healthy again. That's good to know. But yeah, I didn't get to watch much of this game, unfortunately. All I saw was, didn't go too well for our guy Tank, unfortunately, and my fantasy team as well. Which
all I'm saying is, if the Packers don't turn that ball over twice inside the 20, I don't think the Texans score anything. I think they might have scored 3 the whole game, giving them 2 chances inside the 20, and I'm like even when they needed something to happen, they couldn't do it. And shout out Brandon McManus, first week on the job. Fucking goes out, hits a game winner, dude. I saw him do the Lambeau leap. That's hype. For a kicker to get a Lambeau leap on your first ever game in Lambeau, that is hype, bro. So, because we would have lost that game if we would have had fucking Narveson. Just heads up. They would have fucking lost because Narveson's probably one of the worst kickers in football. And I saw Anders Carlson got picked up by the Niners. And everybody, I saw, just because I follow a bunch of Packers stuff, they're like, holy crap. How did Anders Carlson lose his job to Narveson? And Narveson sucks because he hits a 50-yarder on his first kick. Career long on his first kick. 10 minutes later, misses an extra point. And I'm like, oh, there he is. He is there. He's the same guy. Same guy. But let's get to our last one because, I mean, I guess it's the only positive thing from that game for the Texans, I guess. And I don't even know if it really was.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you said. Like their offensive play calling has just been so like predictable, so like kind of base level that like it's just gonna be Mixon for me when I bet on these guys. Like I said in the play, I'm not even a huge Joe Mixon fan as a player. I really haven't been over these last couple of years. But his running, style fits the scheme that they run, so they brought him in. Once again, game 1, 27 carries, 30 carries, whatever it was. That's all you really need to know. Like they told it to you last year when they kept ramming Dameon Pierce into nothing over and over and over again, and CJ kept bailing him out. Like that's not a sustainable game plan. It's not going to work. But you don't learn from your mistakes when you win, right? When you only go by the result and you don't go by the process, you're not going to learn from your mistakes. You're going to keep doing the same thing, which means we can keep betting on these tendencies over and over. And I was kind of curious with what you said. I do kind of think like I want to fade the Texans, right? So I opened the ESPN app. Next week they play the Colts. Not a good opportunity to fade them.
No, that's free. That's just free.
That, I think we got a good spot. Short week to prime time against the Jets. That's where we fade them.
Jets.
So they get the easy game. They look real good against the Colts. People are back on board. Then they go to a Jets, another team that can get a lot of pressure in CJ's face, that can blitz, that can make it ugly. That might be the fade spot. That might be the sneaky Jets money line. So we'll talk about that in prime time in a couple weeks. But
can you imagine they beat them by 20? Let's see. I hope they beat the Colts by 20, bro. They give me like a 3 on the Jets plus 3.
It might be more than that. That's
might be a little money line hammer, bro. Because like the Steelers looked good last night, bro. Like they actually looked good after those first couple drives. Because the Jets, like I get their defense is good as fuck. Like I'm not, man. Like that's why I said for us to still find a way to go positive this week with all that shit that happened. Woo, man, I'm just wiping off because that shit was scary. Because we're about to talk some long shots, and luckily these one of them got through. Thank God.
Yeah, I'll get rid of mine. I mean, this would have been just so perfect. Maybe that's 79 yards, gets one more carry, goes back 3 yards. Raheem Mostert comes in 14 yards the next play. Come on. What are we doing here? Just brutal. So close to the ladder. I mean, he was up early. I believe he only needed, 10, 15 yards in the second half, something like that. They were winning the game, by the way. I had the Dolphins. That was my dog of the week, if you guys remember as well. And man, this team sucks. Get this coaching staff out of here. I know there's nothing he can really do with like these loser quarterbacks, sure, but I don't need to watch it anymore. I'm done with it. You know what I mean? Like even if it's not the coach's fault, fuck it. They still suck. Someone's got to pay the price. That's how the world works. That's accountability. Get this guy the fuck out of here. How does Tyreek Hill have Tyreek Hill is the easiest? Like Jonnu Smith is the guy that you spend all bye week turning up plays for? Jonnu Smith? You got Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. They can also run slants. They don't need to just go straight down the field. Like, come on, man. This was pathetic. They were winning this game. This should have been an easy cover at the bare minimum. This play should have easily won. Like, even beyond the plays, like, if you're a Dolphins fan, I feel for you right now because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the plan is, and I don't know how Tua makes any of this better.
Tua's coming back. They said, what, next week? 2 weeks?
Supposedly next week.
2 weeks?
See.
I don't know, but
they better get him that fucking fluffy helmet before he goes forward. We can't let him play whatever that shit.
They have so many of those. I've seen a lot of guys with them. Like, why is he not number one?
He needs a triple XL. How did they not let him start the season without one of those? If just regular players are using them, Tua, the king of head injuries, he gets to play with the regular helmet. Come on, you should have to wear 2 at a time. Ugh.
Yeah, well, I get one long shot right because Lions-Vikings highest scoring game. We cashed that one. 2.25 units makes up for my dog shit. Travis Kelce getting 4 catches. What the fuck? And then Tank Dell getting 0. But reason why I'm a little bit upset and kind of bittersweet because I took the Lions top scoring team, took the Lions money line. The Lions money line felt good. Obviously, got the dog money there. But I came on here, put my dog of the week again on the Seahawks, and they dismantle those boys. Absolutely dismantle them and cost me this bet because they're the highest scoring team and they beat the brakes off the Falcons, bro. So I end up cashing my dog of the week, dude, because we've been on a heater on dogs of the week, man. They've been cooking, and we're not even really spread bettors, right? We're just here. We just, you find some value. Like, why are the Falcons 3.5-point favorites? Shout out Bijan for still being a dog, though. That guy just continues to put up fantasy numbers, bro. It's so nice to just consistently have him get the ball 20 times in a game. It's like, damn, this is what happens when you give good players the ball. And I know a lot of people early on, I was close of calling Kyle Pitts a piece of shit and just sucking. But man, I liked what I saw, bro. They just finally threw him tight end routes. Let's not run him 40 yards down the field like a receiver. He's a tight end. And the dude was making people miss, running guys over. I think he had 8 catches. He was moving the chains like you're supposed to actually do with your tight end. So it was very nice to see because obviously you don't want guys to struggle too much, especially guys with that much hype. And yeah, I think he had 8 catches for like 70 yards. I'm like, that's what his stat line should be, not 4 for 100. Like, that's not what we're going for. You're a tight end, bro.
Yeah, maybe when he was, maybe before the injury when he had a little bit of burst, but whenever that, injury came in, the speed score dropped a couple points on Madden. Let's just say that. So definitely agree. I mean, that was the only unfortunate. Still got the nice 450, but yeah, that was a beatdown. It was nasty. And like you said, I was on the Seahawks as well. That was your dog of the week. We both talked it up. So I was super happy to get that cash because I love fading Atlanta. Those guys suck. So that was good to see.
Yeah, so we end up actually making a little bit. We made about 1.3 with my second long shot losing, me going 0-2, Sue going 2-0, and we getting that 2-unit spot there. With how crazy that week was to get out of there with all those landmines going off around us, to be positive, I'm feeling pretty damn good. You see what I'm repping out here? We're repping whole pack of Badgers, baby. Russell Wilson. You want to say anything on that? Because I want to talk some Russell Wilson, baby. Because fuck yeah, just absolute beast.
Yeah, this is a debate that we were kind of on the same side of from the start. But like, I was never like, oh my god, you guys can't bench Justin Fields. How dare you? Like, if you watch the games,
everybody hated it, dude. I saw it everywhere, bro.
Yeah, it was one of those, and it's because Fields is a former first-round pick. He's a guy that people have been rooting for so long. And once you root for a guy, people don't like turn on them. They just stick with it. No, I got to be right. This guy's got to be good. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Fields. So he gets these guys the wins, but when you look at the games, he wasn't the one that was facilitating the victories in those games, right? He was doing the bare minimum to keep everything together and keep all the wheels together and then let the defense win games for you. And that's what happened. I think everyone can agree that, well, especially with what we saw last year, Russell Wilson can just simply be a better game manager. Like, that's all you're asking here. You're not asking for elite level upside. You're just asking for a guy to be a game manager, to make simple throws, to not turn the ball over. And then, hey, you take an occasional deep shot because that's what he does. That's what Russ has always done. He's got it. He's got to have the 40-yard bomb in there. And George Pickens is the perfect guy to pair it with. He's one of the best contested catch wide receivers in the league. So I do think this team is still one weapon away, like very clearly on offense. Like, you need another wide receiver. Like, Calvin Austin is not going to cut it. Van Jefferson's not going to cut it.
2 or 3 drops, bro.
I was hoping it would be Roman Wilson, the rookie, but he's got some injury stuff nagging. It seems like that's still bothering him. But either way, yeah, obviously, I was not surprised at all. I've been anti-Jets all year, so there was no way I was betting the Jets. That was just a no bet for me last night on the spread. But it was clearly kind of a Packers or bust. And honestly, the Russ props were kind of nice there too. He got the job done.
Yeah, it was my first kicker prop of the year. I took Boswell at 6.5 points. It was my first kicker prop of the year. He had 14 kicking points is what they put. I'm like, damn, bro. Or 13. One of the things I saw him hit the teens, but that's what I'm saying though. Is like you've seen Russ win. Like they were going, they were Super Bowls, man. When he had an elite defense, all he's got to do is just check it down, give you a long shot over the top, make the safeties go back, and it's like, dude, his deep ball is literally, it's got to be studied, bro. That thing just comes straight down. Like the nose of the ball is coming straight down at you and gives you so much better chances. And obviously Pickens, I think, got 2 defensive pass interferences or a hold on those as well. So it just kind of helps you out. I like it for my Freiermuth exposure as well because Russ will find a way to get it out to him. I know Washington even had like 3 or 4 catches in that game. So it was crazy, man. Like, well, I don't know, but obviously I rep the Steelers just because I got my boy Watt and they have Russ there. And yeah, dude, I never understood that because it's obviously Russ was injured, bro. Like he was out. Like, but I swear, dude, if they would have healthy scratch or if they would have pulled Russ after those first couple drives, I think Pickens might have just threw something, bro. Because that boy ain't getting the ball further than 5 feet down the field, bro.
Hey, he would have had the Antonio Brown. He would have just marched right off the field, take the jersey off, throw it up in the crowd. I'm out of here. Fuck Arthur Smith. The Chiefs will find a way to get him for like a 3rd round pick, and then it'll be the worst decision in history. But no, I agree. And yeah, it obviously worked out well for Russ right there. We were even defending him on the show last year. We actually bet some nice Broncos props when he was in there, just because the public scrutiny is so harsh for the guy because he's a little bit corny. He's corny. We all know the guy's corny. But like, come on. We're taking it a couple steps too far. He's still clearly not the worst quarterback in the league. And that's all people talk about Russell Wilson like he is. So keep on doing those Subway ads, buddy. We'll keep on betting you.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about here quick, Stu, before we get into these games? We got 2 games.
On.
Yeah, we're good?
We can move on. Yeah.
Quick shout out to my boy Geno Smith, though. Homie is just putting up numbers, baby. Shout out Geno Smith. We talked about Kenneth Walker on the show as well. 2 tutties. I'm feeling good about that one. So we got 2 games, Stu. Let's get right into it. Obviously, I think one of them might take a little bit longer to talk about, and that is the first game of the day. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home tonight against the Baltimore Ravens. We have 3.5 point spread. They are dogs at home. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a 49.5 is what they're laying for us on the total here on FanDuel. What are your first thoughts here on this one? Obviously, we'll break it down. We got some props in this one.
Yeah, my first thought is I'm legit excited for this game. I mean, this is going to be a good game right here, right? You got 2 teams that are going to be in the playoff race all year long, and you got 2 interesting styles. For me, I think it's kind of important to have baselines of an understanding of a team and kind of general strengths and weaknesses, right? How do you think one team is like their Achilles heel? What's just one easy thing you can point to so that when you're just casually looking through games, you take note of that? For me, since week 1 for the Ravens, it was clear that offensive line that's been a strength for so long is a very mismatched unit. Additionally, even guys that they do have are kind of hanging on for dear life in terms of like Staley, been injured so much in their career. Like it's just not a strength anymore. And when you're such a run-focused team, that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. It's obviously very hard to stop Derrick Henry, and it's very hard to stop Lamar Jackson, but it does start with being able to kind of initially stuff the run. And the Buccaneers, especially with Vita Vea, he's questionable right now. He will be pretty much the biggest injury news on the slate. I was reading more reports this morning that it's looking like he's going to play. And if you know anything about Vita Vea, the guy's one of the toughest motherfuckers on the planet. I'm not betting against that guy to miss this game in prime time. Like, I'm not. And he is, if you have one interior defensive line you could pick in the league to go up against Derrick Henry, a guy that can stuff interior runs like nobody else, I mean, it's Vita Vea. So it's a very interesting stylistic matchup where, like, for me, this is a Bucs spot. I think this is clearly a Bucs spot because not only I think are there some concerns with your ability to run the ball and set up your offense because of that, but then when you do go to pass, well, this is one of the most blitz-heavy teams in the league. They're not necessarily pure natural talent, but they've got a good scheme and they're going to come for you. Similar to the Brian Flores kind of mentality of we're not going to wait to have the Joey Bosa's to blitz or to create pressure without blitzing. We're going to get creative. We're going to play some Madden. We're going to, get some good schemes going and we're going to send the house at you. And I think that's something that Lamar can really struggle with, especially if he doesn't come out the gate firing. So I like the Bucs in the spot. I think it's going to be a very good game. And I hate to be harsh on Lamar because he's passed every test so far this year, right? He's getting the job done. I don't mean to be hating on the guy. I just think if there is a way to beat him, I think the Bucs are a team that's kind of built to take advantage of that. Not even talking about what they can do on offense. So I like the Bucs in this one. I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I think if I take any of the four, I kind of want to take that Bucs team total. I think I kind of like that Bucs team total in this spot. I'll be talking about my boy Baker here in a second, but we talk about how much we like, the Ravens to stop the run. And I think that the Bucs can't run the ball anyway. Like, they're not good at running the football. Yep. Offensive line-wise, they're a much better pass block team. And obviously, when you're running a three-headed monster in the backfield, two of those dudes, actually all three of them, are very competent pass catchers. And I think that's the way you got to just, that's the extension of our run game. That's what we got to do. Like, it can't be trying to run it up the middle on these guys. Can't be in between the tackles on these Ravens guys because, my God, dude, this is not a team I want to run up against either, So at home, you got big bad Baker, baby. I love him. I got to go with that team total, I think, on the Bucs side. And also, I don't mind the game over either. I saw it was at 50, 51 for a little while. Now it's back down to 49. I think people are starting to realize, wow, that's a really high number when we just saw an absolute track fest in that in the Lions game, and they still hit 60 with a defensive touchdown, right? So it's like a lot of things have to go right for you to get that many points, but 49.5, I feel, is a good number here. I like the Bucs as well, but I like that you can get that 3.5, right? If it goes to like 3, 2.5, stuff like that, then it kind of scares me off a little bit. But I know both of us have spots in this game, so let's take away on those. Let's get it going here. We got a lot of questions in the second game, so we'll get to those in a sec, guys. Let's just get through our picks here.
Sounds good. We're going to start it off with Justice Hill over 15.5 receiving yards, minus 110 over on FanDuel. Rest of the market at 16.5. I would play it up to 17.5. I was kind of hoping we'd get a little bit of a discount after a couple down weeks in terms of receiving. But when you really look at it, it's hard for me, even though he didn't hit his number, he didn't go over. I don't think a lot of people were going into these games, especially once again, like Washington, thinking yes, this is the Justice Hill game. These were clearly games where Derrick Henry was going to come in and do exactly what the fuck they paid him to do, which is run the ball 30 times and crush the other team. And that's what Henry's done a very good job of doing over these last couple weeks. I think they get a little bit of a situation here where it's not going to be as easy, though, as how it's been recently. You get some Bengals, you get some Washingtons. They're not going to put up much resistance there, but we talked about him a little bit before. When this team has Vita Vea down there, they're a very good run-stuffing unit, especially to those kind of inside runs that Derrick Henry is known for. What I would be worried about is Derrick Henry kind of hitting one of those outside runs, because that's how it always works. He kind of bumps out to the outside. He breaks one. Longest rush would be how I would do it if I were going Derrick Henry. I'd go the longest rush rather than the yards today, because I don't think it's going to be that consistent. I think, of course, Derrick Henry can always break one off, but I think the general Derrick Henry, 25 carries for 150 yards, is going to be tough to get in this matchup, especially with a high total. The firepower you have on the other side. Game script does play in to a lot of how comfortable you are consistently running the ball. And I just have a hard time seeing that be the situation here. Additionally, one of the things I bet on Justice Hill a couple times so far this year, one of the things I always like to bring up, he is one of the best pass blocking running backs in the league. That is why, at least that's a big reason why he got the contract extension earlier this year. He has some great pass blocking reps on film so far. He has a very good ability to kind of give your quarterback those extra couple seconds. With a guy like Lamar, it's so important. And that's going to earn you those third down snaps. It's going to earn you those 2-minute drill snaps. And those are the elite snaps we look for when you're looking for a receiving back, right? Because when you think about it logically, catches that are conducive to yards are not going to be your quarterback running back 4 yards going, oh fuck, I got to dump this down, right? That's good for a reception. That's good to get your guy involved as a nice little safety blanket. What I want guys that are running actual routes. I want guys that are involved in the screen game. And we saw that from week 1, right? When we saw this team go up against the Chiefs team that, hey, is also very good at stuffing the run, that also is a solid defense and can put firepower on the other side. Well, suddenly Justice Hill had to be in there a lot more. If you remember, he had 6 catches for 52 yards in that game. That is the only other super high blitz rate team they faced so far this year, before now getting the Bucs, who blitz at an even higher rate. So it's one of those things where Justice Hill has posted great numbers so far this year. Even overall, he has a 14% target share against just on the season. And then when you look at against zone coverage, he's really excelled against zone coverage this year. Bucs play zone at a top 5 rate. He leads the team in yards per route run and targets per route run. Those are efficiency metrics. It just lets you know he's doing very well with the targets that he's getting. He may not be getting the most targets in the world, but when he does, he's turning them into yards. He's turning them into production. And if you ever watch these games, it's pretty easy to see why. You got to worry about Lamar Jackson running the fucking ball, and Lamar Jackson can absolutely make you pay. So what a lot of teams will do is they'll go, yes, we'll let you have the Justice Hill 6-yard screen. It'll keep us alive. It'll keep you alive. That's just an unfortunate aspect of playing defense against such a talented team. So I think it's going to be check down city for Hill. I think he's going to once again see an increased workload. I think his pass blocking is going to be needed. When you look at the Bucs side, great defensive matchup, 3rd most receiving yards allowed to opposing running backs on the season so far. They funnel those targets. Hill is good against zone. Just so many good things that come together when you look at the numbers. But I really didn't need to see any of the numbers, to be honest. If you've watched this team and you've seen how they function against a team that gets pressure on you, Justice Hill is one of the key answers. He is one of the important chess pieces in this game, and I expect to see screens early and often. I don't think this is going to be, a live bet, maybe they're down late kind of thing. I think we're going to see some first drive screens for Justice Hill in this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got 92 of you guys in here live with us. Hit that like button. I see we're at 20. Let's get that up there. We're trying to get up to that 100 like mark here. What I also love about this bet is even if there's 40 seconds, right? When we see a lot of those teams score with 30, 40 seconds right before the half, you got fucking Justin Tucker, man. They're going to literally try to just get to the 50. And those are always my favorite. Just those, not garbage yards because it's going into halftime, but those points where you're just oh, all right, we'll just take a couple. We'll take a couple, and it's obviously nice to have when you only have to get 15 yards in this spot. For me, I'm going to be playing a 1.5er, right? We haven't been rolling a 1.5er in a little while. My boy Baker. There's 2 guys on this on the show that have been good to me, and that is Mr. Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith from the quarterback position. They love the coin, man. They like making us money, and just looking at this matchup, we already talked about it a little bit on our over-unders and stuff like that. Really, really like this spot for pretty much any quarterback against the Ravens because they just shut down. They're a pass funnel, right? And we love that. I know we talked about it a little bit last week where you want those funnels. You don't want those teams like the Packers who just kind of average against both. You want a team that's really good against one, so you know where to bet on them against them on the next time. So in this spot, you look at the teams the Ravens have faced, and they've had a lot of these closer games because they played really good teams so far this year. Probably one of the top strengths of schedules I've seen. But then you look at their last matchup, the Commanders. James Daniels is not a completions guy. He takes shots down the field, and obviously when there are the short completions, he usually runs those. He got 24 completions in his last game, most of his career. Then you go to the Bengals, 1-score game. Joe Burrow crushed this number. I think he had 30, right? The Bills game, they blew out the Bills in that game. Josh Allen, 18 only. But then you go, Dak had to come back, right? They had to come back from that. He had 30, again, completions in that one. Gardner Minshew had 30 in the game against these guys already this year because you just can't run the football, right? So I really like this spot because we already know the Buccaneers are not good at running the football. So I think that the extension of the run game is going to be those dump downs. You obviously love Chris Godwin across the middle. I think that obviously when you see Trey Palmer he was in and out of games. Now we're starting to see Sterling Shepard into some of these games. So obviously the injury news to McMillan and the injury news to Trey Palmer, those are important to get those guys in there too because those are the short dump downs. You already know my exposure on Kate Otten, Stu. I have too much. But hey, 2-yard routes, baby. They still count. They still count as a completion. So I just think the way this game's going to be going is going to be we're not going to move the ball in between the tackles here. Baker's, I know he has been running the ball a little bit more than I was expecting him to, but he's not like a high volume runner. I think the most rushes he's had in the game has been 6. And I think he had like a 20-yard run in that game as well. So I really like Baker on the completions market. I think that the dump offs will be there. I obviously love Godwin, and the guy takes it off over the top with Mike Evans. So I think all these pass catchers are on my list for bets that I want to make. I think that those injuries actually kind of help them now that they're all coming back healthy. And we have a 3-headed running back committee back there. All of them can catch the football. I really like Baker for completions here. That's why I'm rolling 1.5 today.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we done this on the show? I mean, not we, you mostly. I've mostly done if people remember, I was the Rashad White receiving, while you were the kind of correlated Baker passing. And it's been a staple on the show, not only last year with Baker, even the year before that with freaking Tom Brady, because this team is still playing very similar. Like, it's been check down city, and Rashad White has to be so thankful. Once again, back-to-back seasons, sub 4 yards per carry. Nothing on the ground, but just check down city for a game. And now you don't just have Rashad White. Now you got a guy like Tucker. You got a guy like Irving. Both of these guys could be even more dynamic playmakers in the passing game. It's going to be tough on the ground. You already laid it out. Not only have they faced a very bad or very good schedule, but I mean, still best rush defense in the league so far. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball, so it's going to be Baker mania in this one. And like you said, it's the same situation we've had a lot over these last couple of years. But when you ask Baker to throw the ball, he's going to do it. He's got no problems with that. He's looking for these kind of matchups. And obviously Godwin, Evans going up against a secondary that's really played below expectations. I mean, when you look at it, that's the confusing part. It's not that it's not talented, but they really struggle with the explosive plays. They give up a lot of opposing yards. I don't know how they got to get it fixed, but maybe age is the ultimate thing. Maybe it's catching up to some of these guys. But overall, definitely a big fan of Baker. And yeah, I think it's going to have to come through the air in this one.
Yeah, no, and I mean, the reason why I love these spots for Baker is because you've seen him in these primetime games kind of just come out and just go off, right? Because you had to deal with Carolina, bro. You ain't getting no primetime games in Carolina. You get no primetime games when you're with the Browns and they're just atrocious, right? You saw him when he had, 3 days to prep against when he was playing for the Rams for those couple games. He had to come from a Monday, show up for a Thursday game, and he still showed out in that game and put on a clinic, bro. So I think these primetime games, a guy like Baker, he had those big college moments too. Fair. I really like him in a primetime spot here because, dude, he's just charismatic, dude. He's out there. He's trying to have fun. It's just like those are the guys you want to root for. And Baker's, I think him and Gino just fighting for that top spot, baby. We're fighting for that top spot on Pass the Prop, so we'd love to see it. Let's get to some questions here because we're going to be going right into game number 2. We still got 90 of you guys in here. Thank you so much for joining us on your Monday afternoon. We will pop over because we got a lot of questions on this game, man. We got a lot of you guys talking about this game. Let's pull up a couple. We got a lot of different spots here. Talking about Dobbins. We got Kurt talking about Dobbins, 2 touchdowns at plus 470. We have a couple other spots here on Dobbins because I feel like he's definitely the guy that everybody wants to take him,
Yeah, it's for good reason. I mean, Dobbins, I'm not going to lie, was like the first guy on my list last week and this week, right? He was the first guy on my list last week. I thought I was going to get value in the 50s. No, high 60s. They were ready for it. Still bet it. Still got the win. This week, not even high 60s anymore. We're high 70s. It opened at 70. I checked that off, but it immediately got up to kind of 76, 77. That's a scary number. Even 2 touchdowns. This market is tough because scoring 2 touchdowns in the NFL is fucking tough. And now you got to pay 470 for it. Like, I need 10 to 1 when I'm looking at 2 touchdowns generally. I made an exception for Tank Bigsby. I made an exception for him because he's the GOAT. It's a good time to bring up Tank Bigsby as the GOAT.
Hey, 50%. Hey, 50% games, bro. 50%. That first game, he got like 3 points. You got like 3 points.
Getting blown out. Yeah, you don't get to run the ball when you're blown out.
You got 3 points in that first game with ETN being out after the first quarter. So let's keep going.
No, you're losing this one easily. So
I said it's sub 5-point games. He's already got one.
Bro, what you're pointing out is a game that he was not the starter of, that he didn't even play the
ETN
majority
played
of
one.
snaps
What? I
of,
mean, let's just go.
because
Get
they
on
were
this
getting
game.
destroyed. And now Tank Bigsby does what he does best, puts on a fucking clinic in London, baby, cashes our tickets. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, generally I need 10 to 1 if I'm going to get 2 touchdowns. I like Dobbins. I played Dobbins minus 105 for a touchdown yesterday morning. I still like minus 120. If you're going to price him at 90 rush yards, 80 rush yards, why is his touchdown not priced in the same category? Like, it feels kind of weird to me. So I do like the Dobbins touchdown, but like, I mean, he's priced like an elite running back right now, and he's been good. But the O line is amazing, but I don't know if I can pay these prices for Dobbins, unfortunately.
Yeah, just looking at a few other spots that kind of come up. Thoughts on the Ravens? 3.5. We kind of talked about that. I'm just kind of going through all of these spots. Weird week set. Another question here that's popped up early on. Lamar Jackson. We have Lamar Jackson longest rush, Henry's longest rush. Lamar Jackson to 20. I think it'll be a close game. They're giving up 6 20-plus yard runs despite their run D being top 6. Any thoughts on that before we get into honestly, I think kind of this game I don't really care as much about as the first one because I have a lot more bets in the game one.
Yeah, I mean, these are good looks. Like I said earlier, I think Henry's longest rush is a solid one. You just need him to bounce outside once, break one of those. Nothing against that. Lamar's good. I haven't looked super close at it, his rushing, to be honest, especially how he's done against the blitz so far this year. But I think common sense would obviously tell you a super blitz heavy team would lead to him naturally running a little bit more. So I assume they're going to have to spy him because of that. But obviously, at longest rush, you mentioned the 20-plus yard runs right there is a good look. I don't have a problem with either of these two guys. Like I said, I think you got to beat them with like creative supplements to your traditional running game. So Lamar Jackson is going to be a big part of that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's keep moving. I don't know. Do we have anything else here on those guys?
Bottom Mike Evans one too.
Yeah, from the last game. I'm trying to find them. There's a lot of different ones. Mike Evans buy low spot over 55.5 a week after Lattimore week and chasing his 100th receiving touchdown. I thought it was plus 140. I think I saw for a touchdown for Mike Evans. Not sure where it's at today. I checked that yesterday, but still probably anything above plus 125. You just don't see Mike Evans that high anymore.
I was gonna say, yeah, I see 140 on FanDuel. You're right, still there. I mean, yeah, 140 in a game with a total like this is Mike Evans heaven. I would play Mike Evans. I would play his touchdown before his yards because even though the Ravens have really struggled with explosive plays this year, their style of play with the heavy cover 2 usage is still going to ask teams to shoot more underneath. So they've struggled to actually contain that. But I think this game stylistically should be a good Godwin game. So I think Godwin for yards would be my preference. But I mean, Evans is arguably the best like contested catch touchdown guy there is in terms of like if you could have only a handful of guys to catch one to save your life. Evans is on that list. He's one of the best there is. So definitely like the touchdown, especially add a little bit of narrative, prime time 100th reception at 140. Definitely a good parlay piece if you're looking for a little long shot or something like that.
Yeah, let's. We saw a couple. Wow, damn, a lot of questions on Mike Evans. I've seen a couple more in there. But I guess we might as well talk a few times about this next. About the game that we're talking about here. We got Big Fly talking about McBride receptions. I know we talked a little bit about that prior to the show starting here. Dude, I love McBride. You guys know I love McBride. I bet McBride probably more than most. But obviously, I know a lot of people are going to look at last week, but it's tough because, Marvin Harrison goes out like the second drive, and then you start seeing all these other guys like DeMercado start going, like Dortch start getting catches. And it's just like I can't really use a lot of that info from last week much. You know what I'm saying? Because you drop a guy like Marvin Harrison, that's like 30% target share because anytime that Kyler's running for his life, which is quite often behind this offensive line, the dude's just chucking it up to Marvin Harrison. So it's like, it's tough because you saw how fast he went out last week. It's tough to really use much of that data.
Yeah, I mean, I was betting you were going to be on McBride today. When I was going to the show, I know McBride's one of your guys. I was looking at it. McBride crushes zone. He's getting a pretty good zone matchup against a team that's going to run a ton of it. Like, it does profile as a good McBride game, but you did mention, obviously, a little bit of an inflated stat line from last game, probably hiking up this number a yard or two. Although 50 is generous. Getting his yards under 50, I think, is reasonable. I think I'd probably rather do that than receptions at 5, just because he is one of those guys that can break one of those big plays. Like, I think if he gets 5, he's not a tight end that's going 5 for 25 very often. It happens. That's the NFL when you're a tight end. But I have enough like trust in his talent that I think it's probably more likely he could break one off. But overall, slow, run heavy game. I like McBride if I had to pick a pass catcher. But honestly, my kind of thought process on the Cardinals all year long has been like James Conner or bust. This team wants to run the hell out of the ball. They just haven't had any success doing that over these last couple of weeks, which makes me look at it and go, well, I don't want to bet on any of you guys. That's kind of where I've been at. But I think if I had to pick a pass catcher, it's pretty easily McBride.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I know I mentioned to you, it's just, I don't know if I want to bet on anybody on this Arizona side where I see a game where he has the Cardinals have 20 minutes of possession the whole game. I could, because I just watched Josh Jacobs run behind a Packers offensive line who is much better pass blocking offensive line, and they just beat him down, right? And this Chargers offensive line is significantly better. They're built to run the football. That's what they want to do. They want to throw the ball 20 times a game, still getting Justin Herbert back to full strength. I just don't know if I want to. Like, the only guy I would want to bet in this game is Dobbins. There's really not much else I would like to even talk about, which is why I didn't really have a bet in this game, because like I could see a point where it's just like I benched Kyler this week. Because I don't like this matchup. I know that you can get a lot of checkdowns, which is nice, but I've seen Kyler throwing the ball down the field more often now with Marvin Harrison trying to make something happen, and it's just not really been happening because there's so much pressure on him.
Yeah, and I'm not really, Marvin Harrison for betting purposes would fall in the longest reception only category for me. I mean, with his usage, we saw it from game number 1 where he was not involved in the whole world, through tantrums. And then he was involved week 2. We'll go look at his week 2 involvement. He was catching deep bombs. Like, he was getting the job done on incredibly hard to convert passes. So for me, that's not sustainable. That just shows that your role is a little bit more one-sided than we thought. Everyone thought Marvin Harrison would just kind of be like Devontae Adams, or he'd just come in and be good at everything instantly. That's the kind of way people were talking about him as a prospect. But so far, he's kind of operating more as like a deep threat, as a guy that's a little bit, I don't want to say one-dimensional, that's harsh, but just in his current usage right now. So for me, I'd much rather just go longest reception. It seems like him scrambling and looking for those deep shots to Harrison are kind of the biggest connection. So I'd rather just bet on that outcome individually than the whole package, because Harrison's been rough so far. Not like terrible, but at least from where you drafted him in like a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah, dude, if anything, maybe I'll think I got Kyler rushing, maybe, just because he's going to be probably running for his life.
Yeah.
I think I saw like 31 and a half. I think that might be, but I don't have anything officially locked in yet. So let's get through a quick recap here, Stu. We got 95 of you guys in here still with us live. Hit that like button for us. We really appreciate it. And let's get through this recap.
Sounds good. I do want to shout out one guy on that team before we move on from that Chargers real quick. The backup running back, Vidal, for the Chargers. Mm-hmm. When they post his props, I'm very interested in them. I like his touchdown right now. It got bet down from like 500 to like 350, which isn't great anymore. But if they put his regular yards up, Harbaugh likes to rotate these backs. He's not like a one guy 40 carries, and Dobbins has been good. We saw Vidal get the touchdown last week. We still saw him involved. We saw Gus Edwards all year long involved before that, and he sucked. He was. I love Gus Edwards. Huge fan. He was terrible this year. So I think like 6-7 carries are like a floor. So if they're going to just post his line at like 14, 15, like regular backup, they're going to destroy this team on the ground. They're going to destroy him. Obviously, we all know that. Freaking J.K. Dobbins, off of what was a career-ending injury 2 years ago, is set at 80 against these guys. Like, that's where we're at right now. They're so bad. They can't stop the run. So give me some, like, long shots. Give me some backup running backs. I didn't want to point that out before we moved on, because we didn't talk about this game much because neither of us really like it that much. But that is one that I am interested in seeing. Got to get a little bit grimy with the long shots.
All I'm saying is, you guys know how much I bet college football. I bet on Vidal a lot, like a lot. When I could get props on him, and I play him as much as I could when he got onto the main DFS slates. But when you play for Troy, you don't really make it onto too many. It was probably like 2 or 3, but he was just an automatic lock into those because Dude can run for. Dude, he's had like 3 or 4 200-yard games last year, bro. Like the dude was a monster. Like he can make people miss. Good, even just like those 8-9 yard pops. Like this guy's good. He's explosive and he's a really good running back. So I definitely like the show.
Okay, that's awesome. I was worried you're going to shit on it because I didn't watch him at all. Like I know you're in the trenches on those conferences and stuff. So I like. He's one of those.
Yeah, he was fucking good. He was
Okay,
he was like costing like $9K on DK when he was making main slates, which for a running back, dude, that's like as high as you could possibly get.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. No, I'm definitely done that. But yeah, back to the quick recap. Now I wanted to get that in a little bit for the people that stick with us, that listen this whole time. I appreciate you guys. It's awesome. It's great. So we got Justice Hill over 15.5 receiving yards. It's moved since an hour ago. It's at 16.5. You can get that on MGM or 17.5 on FanDuel. I'm comfortable with all those numbers. I probably, once you get past like 18, 19, it's a little bit trickier. Like that 18 is probably, as high as you want to take it right there, but definitely good at the current numbers right now.
Beautiful. And I'll be rolling my 1.5er. I'm going to be rolling with Baker Mayfield over 23.5 completions and minus 114 on FanDuel there. And I believe that's all. Yeah, I believe he's at 99. I didn't see him catch 100. So, yeah, I think he's still at 99, Aaron, there. And I'm sure.
He might have 100 total and 99 receiving. That might be what it is, if I'm not.
Maybe. I know they're still saying that he needs to get his 100 touchdown. I would assume it'd be receiving. But maybe he has a rushing one. I have no idea. I just know that he does. I saw when I looked, it was still 99 on because it only shows receiving numbers on ESPN.
Yep. So I believe he's one receiving away, but I think he did get the 100th, and he just chucked into the crowd the other week. That was rushing and receiving, and he said, "Oh, I don't care about that. I want the receiving one." So I think if I remember correctly, that's what it was. But yeah, for long shots, I don't know if you got much. It's kind of rough. I bet one long shot, and I'm so scared to give it out. I don't want people to throw tomatoes at me. Freaking Mark Andrews, touchdown, 370. It's better than the lively odds. Or likely. I was initially going to say likely. I checked the odds. Andrews got better touchdown odds than Isaiah Likely. Wow. I don't want people to hate me. I know we just talked about giving up on another tight end earlier in Laporta, but Andrews is surging a little bit more. He's been blocking. I mean, I don't know, man. 370 for a Mark Andrews touchdown against a team that I think tight ends are going to have a lot of success. I don't know. That to me, that was it almost just for what Mark Andrews has done for my betting career over the last 5 years. I'm gonna give you this one. I'm gonna take the 370. I'm gonna put my trust in Mark Andrews' hands. And if he doesn't get it, that's fine. I know he's disappointed a lot of people. He's not disappointed me. I've not bet on him once so far this year. So I've been on the good side. I'm putting my feet to the fire, getting a little bit risky. I will be playing both tight ends, so I like both tight ends to score a touchdown. But Andrews having a higher price than likely, I just had to. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be on the other side. I wanted to play Otten. I don't like a lot of these I feel like these numbers get bet so much in these showdown-ish type slates that the yard marks are really. They're sharp, bro. They're sharp at this point in the day. If you're betting it's pretty damn sharp, right? Unless you're going to a Justice Hill or a guy that not many people are going to be wanting to click the button on, right? That's why I don't really bet on too many yards unless I'm betting on those buy down ones because they're pretty sharp lines. So I like these numbers. These are FanDuel exclusive. I just grabbed obviously yours and then mine as well, but I think the touchdown market is the best one to go to for a long shot tonight, unless you're going to a backup running back like we just talked about with Vidal or Justice Hill there, but caught a touchdown last week. I know Mark Andrews was the same way. Otten caught one last week. But, I mean, dude's still getting targeted, bro. He's 6 targets last week. I know it only accounted for 15 yards, but he did get into the end zone. We've seen him have that opportunity. I know they're going to probably force feed Evans in there, but you got to assume they probably know that too. So who's going to be the guy open? It's going to be him and Chris Godwin across the middle. Even if you want to look towards last year, I know he had the touchdown in the playoffs against the Lions last year. Only had 4 touchdowns throughout the year last year as well. But big body, right? You like those types of guys down there. 6'5" guy. I think the target share and being able to get down there often in this game. I think these are the guys you want to go to. I don't. How many touchdowns do you think the Cardinals score? 1, 2 in that game? Trying to bet on who's getting the score on that side, right? Obviously, there's a lot of options on this Tampa Bay side, but I don't think they're running the ball in unless it's Baker. So give me those pass catchers. I think the plus 370 odds on a guy who might play 100% of the routes.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you want guys that are going to be out there, and I know Kate Otton's going to be out there. So sign me up. Plus 370.
Yeah, and they're one of the few teams with really no like backup tight end competition too. Like when you think about it, most teams have a guy that you can very easily envision stealing your touchdown as well. So not having that clear threat is always nice as well. So I'm with it. I like the tight ends today. I think it's going to be even your guy. You mentioned the Cardinals. Like it's either McBride or Kyler. I think and those are the only playable ones. So it might just be a tight end day, across the market right here. But although maybe not the Chargers side. I don't know if I want to go Hayden Hurst to score a touchdown.
Hey, that's barrel, bro. That's the bottom part of that barrel.
Will Dissly is there. Yeah, they got the whole squad. They actually
Hurst. I don't think is playing. Actually, I don't think Hurst is playing. I think it's Dissly's. Dissly's like when I was just kind of keep putting ear to the ground, looking at my DFS if I'm going to possibly play the 2-gamer. I don't do it very much, but Will Dissly's like the number one like value option on the slate because the boy's like minimum price, and Hayden Hurst ain't playing. This dude. Like, Russell Wilson just loved him. I don't know why, but Russell Wilson would just give him, 2 or 3 a game, and the dude would catch everything. So
he was, good. He just kept getting concussions, all the time. Where it's like, dang, I see him once every, 4 weeks, like you said, from a Russell Wilson, 30-yard random shot over the middle of the field. But, that's how the NFL is. They lost to go Donald Parham to the XFL. That was the biggest loss, unfortunately.
Oh, God, XFL just taking all the good players, huh?
Well, I was joking. He came from the XFL. I actually have no clue where he is now. I honestly don't know. But Donald Parham, he was 6'8". He got a couple touchdowns for the Chargers last couple of years. Great guy. Gotta love it. I hope he comes somewhere so I can bet his touchdown again soon. We'll see.
Beautiful. Anything else, Stu, before we head out here? Like I said, huge numbers on guys that were in here today. We appreciate you. Anything else for the people before we head out?
Yeah, no, leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Obviously, if you want all of my picks, you can go check it out over on Twitter. I'm in the 4for4 Discord. I read a paywalled article. You can get all those plays for $10 first month code mono, or just 25% off the rest of the year. It's always a better deal anyway when you look at the monthly versus the yearly deal. That's always how it is. Just get a yearly. Don't have to worry about it. Been a great season so far. Been a great run on Past the Prop. Look forward to continuing that. Working hard every fucking day to get these winners. And it's been going great so far. So I'm fired up. I'm excited. We got a doubleheader tonight. Let's cash some tickets. And hey, if you got any questions, drop in the comments below. Send us a DM. That's what we're here for. We're trying to get that money. We're trying to get those winners. Looking forward to it. Let's cash.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're coming back to you guys on Wednesday. Terrence already bringing up NBA back this week, too. I get it. Hey, all I'm saying is if they keep giving us these dog shit Thursday night football games, I might actually have to bet some NBA on here, bro. I wasn't expecting to have to do that, but I have to do that early if they keep giving me some crap Thursday night football games. Come on. Bring some hammers. Let's get this going. I know the Vikings in action on this Thursday, so it'll be a little bit better. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out. We appreciate you. If you got any other questions, make sure you drop them in the comments after. So have a good one, guys, and best of luck tonight.